This is a tutorial on how to install a winch on a Can-Am Maverick Trail or Sport. Alright, we're going to go ahead and start installing the actual winch. I did put the Maverick up on ramps just to make it easier for me to sit in front of it and do this work. You could definitely do it on the ground though. So what we're going to have to do to install it is you have to remove the front mounting, factory mounting winch plate. To do that, you have to remove these 6 screws here that hold the down tubes for the factory bumper, and then there's 2 screws right in here that have to come out. And then I had to remove some bolts out of my skid plate here that I have an aftermarket, but you can see there's these 2 bottom bolts down there that have to come out, and there's also one on each side of the unit. I'm going to show you where one of them is. It's back in here in the frame. If we get back in here, right there. So that one has to be removed also. So you get those bolts out, and then this will go ahead and drop out, and you can mount your winch to it. All right, so I got the winch mounted up to the factory mount plate, and had a couple issues. This winch wasn't quite the right size. Had to buy a different flare head here. The one that came with the winch, the roller flare head here, the holes are 5 inches on center, and the holes in this bracket from the Can-Am are 6 inches. So I bought this nice aluminum one. We'll see how it holds up, from Amazon for 20 bucks. And then I also, the factory mounting holes for the winch are 6.5 inches on center across. And this winch that I purchased, they're only 5. So I just drilled out the plate where it's going to go, but then I also took the factory plate that came with the winch and cut the flare head attachment off, because I wanted to have a plate on here, because these lower holes, there's actually holes underneath there where these tabs were bent up when they cut them out of the plate and then bent them up. So I was right on the joint between, you can kind of see right there, between the two plates, the inner and the outer. And the bolt wouldn't be touching on the one side. So I just put the plate in there as some extra precaution. So I bought a little longer bolt and bolted everything up. So I'll get this bolted onto the machine, and and we'll get everything wired up. All right, so we got the winch all installed. When you're putting on the factory winch mount, when you reinstall that, you're going to want to put the 2 side bolts in first. They're slotted, and it makes it just a little easier to get them in and line everything up. Then from an electrical standpoint, I ran my wiring along the frame here up underneath the radiator shroud, and then tucked it in here inside the frame, back behind the shock, up and around, zip tied it here to this plastic piece right here, where your other hoses coming down are attached to. We come across this shroud, and again I put a zip tie and a push pin in there to hold everything in place. Then there's the contactor. I mounted that on a little bracket I built that spans between the frame and the cowl here, so that fits all in there real nice where I got that. Then the wiring coming from it kind of tucks back here behind the cowl, and then down in, and then back through the rubber boot in there, back into the cab. I did find when you're doing the wiring through the cab, I found that it was easier to run your wires from the driver's side of the steering wheel instead of trying to wrap back around. Kind of lines up perfect. But then on this side here, we got our wires. Everything's ran in right here to the contact block that's there. There's a ground, power, and accessory, a switched power. So it works perfect to have everything run to it. You can see I got everything in here in a wire loom. Right up in there is my remote control for the winch. And then up here, we installed a switch that looks factory. Got this off of Amazon. You light it up, color of it. I had a mess with it and put some orange underneath over the lights to get it to be the right color. It was white, but as you can see, it's very close to the color. If I hit the switch, it lights up. So overall, I'm real happy with how this install went, and just wanted to show you guys how I did it. So if you're looking to do this, you'll have some ideas of where to install some of the components and how to get it done.